Good morning, Washington. Welcome in to Manufacturing Week Live. I'm Chris Johnson, President and CEO of the Association of Washington Business. Today, we're reporting live from Kettle Cuisine here in Everett, an innovative food company committed to making fresh, artisan, and quality food. It is truly great to be here on the campus today. We're here to celebrate Washington's manufacturers, the makers of our economy. And AWB is proud and honored to serve as the state's manufacturing association and helping to share those important stories. Manufacturing is essential to our success. It's essential to Snohomish County and Central Puget Sound, and it's essential as we think about recovering our economy. Here in Snohomish County, there are more than 61,000 men and women who every day wake up and go to work for a manufacturer here in this county. In fact, they're not only good jobs, they're great family wage jobs that on average in this county pay more than $100,000 a year. Yes, you heard me right. Here in Snohomish County, the average manufacturing wage is over $100,000. Today is day 5 of our 6-show series where we explore the many great manufacturers and helping to tell their story. The focus of today's show is agriculture, food and beverage, which are major pillars of our economy in the Pacific Northwest, and we're going to get a chance to sample some here in just a little bit. We'll hear from Washington's success stories like Talking Rain, Kettle Cuisine, and Walmart's distribution center in Grandview, Washington. We'll get a behind-the-scenes view of Washington's agriculture distribution center there as well, and we'll receive the latest information on trade from the consul generals of the Mexican consulate and the Canadian consulate as well. 2 of Washington's most important trading partners for tens of thousands of exporters across our great state. We're also going to announce this year's Operational Excellence Award for our 2020 Manufacturing Award winner at the end of today's show. There are 3 great finalists for this year's award in Operational Excellence. They are Jim Nameplate, Novalex, and JT Printing Company. So let's get started. At this time, it's really my pleasure to welcome in State Representative Mike Sells of the 38th Legislative District. Representative Sells is the chair of the Labor and Workplace Standards Committee, and we're pleased to welcome him to today's show to help us kick it off. Representative Sells, welcome on in.
Well, thank you very much, and Everett, Snohomish County, one of the manufacturing areas. I think that we've been proud. A lot of that's just contract manufacturing, and a lot of it's been tied to the aerospace industry. Which is sort of natural because we have the assets here to do that kind of thing, 2 large airfields that we can work around. So the great question for us, I think through the next few years and trying to get past COVID-19 is some diversification around that. And I think you're going to focus on that a little bit this morning. So I appreciate to be with you, and I appreciate to be talking with you, and best wishes for your program today.
Well, thank you, Representative Sells. You're right. Manufacturing is really strong up here in Snohomish County. We talked about that average wage, which are great wages here. Can you share just 20 seconds about manufacturing in your district? You happen to be home to a great and robust district in manufacturing, and we're going to highlight some of those here in just a few minutes.
Well, I think you're going to actually highlight a food manufacturer, if I remember correctly. So that's a little bit different, but a lot of that manufacturing is around products to the aerospace and already right up. So look, we have some growing manufacturing out at the Arlington Airport, which I think you're going to see grow in the future because we worked with the city of Marysville to take a look at some local tax incentives to be able to do that.
One of the things that manufacturers certainly rely on is a skilled, trained, and educated workforce, Representative Sells. How do we, as we go into the next legislative session, how do we balance both budget and then looking ahead to meet the important workforce challenges that we have for our state?
Well, that's going to be a difficult problem. You know, the budget deficit that we have projected has been cut in half, I guess, by the latest projections, but that's going to be difficult. I think we just have to focus on those kinds of programs that train the workforce for the future. And that was one of the things I worked with Snohomish around construction industry training at one of our local high schools. And we need to begin to develop those with our local agencies, high schools, and community colleges much more.
Well, Representative Sells, we've learned as we've done this ESPN Game Day-like sit that these 5-minute segments go by like that. I want to thank you again for welcoming us to Snohomish County. I'm sorry you won't be here to be on set and help us enjoy some of the great food and beverage that comes out of the district today, but we'll see you here in the near future and look forward to working with you in the 21 session.
All right. Thank you very much, and thanks for being here.
You bet. Now it's my pleasure to welcome our next guest, Liam McClellan. He's the CEO of Kettle Cuisine, where we are broadcasting live from today. Kettle Cuisine is an innovative food company committed to making wholesome and delicious artisan food. Most specifically, white label suits for Walmart's delicatessen section, where they've seen explosive growth that's really, really impressive. We're also joined by Danielle Lyman, Senior Merchandising Director in the deli at Walmart. Danielle and her team have been working with Liam and the Kettle Cuisine team for the past 3 years. Liam, Danielle, welcome on in.
Good morning. Welcome, Chris, to our site at Everett, and thanks ever so much for giving us so much time to come and pay a visit here.
Hey, let's talk about something before we jump in. It's only appropriate we're talking about food and beverage. You brought us out something here this morning, and Danielle, I'm sorry you're not on site to see this, but it's warm, it's fresh. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is the brand new production of macaroni cheese. We saw it being produced in the plant just a few minutes ago. I've eaten far too much of this already in the last few days, but it's a fantastic product, and we're launching it with Danielle and her team literally here in the next few days.
Well, you were not here just to taste it, Danielle, but it is warm and it is good. Liam, give us a little preview, an overview of Kettle Cuisine. It's really an impressive company. You had a chance to take me inside and get a behind-the-scene tour. Talk about what all happens here.
Yeah, so Kettle Cuisine is the largest producer of fresh soup in North America. We've got 4 manufacturing sites, both here in Washington State, but one in Massachusetts and another one in California and Green Bay. And we only do a very high quality, artisan-made, fresh, all-natural product. So it's very high quality, made like a chef would make it, but we like to say we can do artisan at scale so that we can work with people like Danielle and the Walmart team there to get a really high quality product across the whole country.
Tell us about this. This is big, right? It's not every day do you roll out a new product. Not only do you roll out a great tasting product. Give us some of the backstory on this, if you would.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had a very gradual relationship building the category with Danielle and the Walmart team, and this is another evolution of how do we expand the range and the category. What we like to do is have very unique recipes that are unique only to Walmart, and then that way they become a destination for the consumer. They can only get them there. And then we make a much higher quality product than the brand. So what happens is the consumer gets an excellent product at excellent value, and both Walmart and ourselves, enjoy growing revenue as a result.
Part of being a successful company is having a great workforce. Can you spend just a few minutes talking about your commitment to your workforce and how you've grown it over the years?
Yeah, so the workforce that we have across the 4 sites totals almost 1,000 employees. At this site today, we have circa 350 people. It always expands at this time of year because of the seasonality of soup. The colder the weather, the more we start to sell, and we're certainly seeing some of that right now as we're trading with the Walmart team. But additionally, we had to create new jobs as we brought the new business across here. We needed a bigger standard team. So although we've got the seasonal expansion, we also carry a bigger team here than we once did.
Danielle, let's go to you. Tell us a little bit about Walmart's connection to Kettle Cuisine and the year-over-year, what I call really success story, not just growth, but real success story here.
Sure. We originally partnered with Kettle Cuisine, as Liam was saying, for our private brand fresh soup program. And we had a really high focus on quality and value. So they were the partner after lots of searching that we determined was the best fit for what we were looking for what our customers wanted. So we've launched this program in over 4,000 stores. We have kind of a core flavor line and then some seasonal expansions as well as some innovation. And then as you're eating there, some additional products that are coming. Luckily, I get to enjoy it myself. I've got some first production in the fridge, so I will try that later today. And every year since our launch, we've really experienced strong double-digit sales growth. So we're on pace to hit a really aggressive sales target so far.
Danielle, I think something that's always interesting is how did we get to here? So share with us a little bit about how did this relationship start?
Yeah, absolutely. So we internally had identified a gap from our product offerings, and customers were telling us that they wanted a quality fresh soup program. So we kind of hit the pavement and scouted various soup suppliers across the country, brought them in, we call them line reviews. So they brought in product, we tasted them, we had conversations about capabilities. And it really came down to, as we've talked about a couple times already, the quality is really unmatched with Kettle Cuisine and the value equation. So that became kind of a no-brainer for us they were our partner of choice for this program.
Danielle, I want to go back to something because I think it's really impressive. We're talking about not only rolling out a new product, but rolling it out at scale. You mentioned 4,000 stores that this is rolling out to, right?
Yep, absolutely. We've got a pretty big footprint with Walmart, and we'd like to take a strategic approach with what we launch. So some items that we feel really confident in right off the bat, we can roll out pretty aggressively to a large store count. Others will take kind of a more measured approach and kind of scale them out, and then continue to expand as we see success.
Well, it's just one quality assurance person. It's half gone, so my apologies here. So
I've been watching you eat it. It's impressive to multitask this.
I didn't get any on me, so that's good. That's great.
Good.
Talk about, if you would, Liam, you've got some other products there that are also that are in under the Market Side brand as well.
Yeah, so we've, as Danielle said, we do some LTOs and some seasonal soups. So we're launching at the same time as the macaroni cheese, 3 new soup flavors. But also as part of growing the relationship and growing this quality value equation, we've moved into another category, which is fresh pasta sauces. So we've also been on the desk here today, we've got a marinara, a vodka, an Alfredo. And the idea is to go on a similar journey that we've been on with the soup, which is around great value, great quality, and really take on the long life grocery brands with a much better quality fresh product that Danielle and her team take to all the Walmart consumers each week.
Liam, share with us, as you think about your company and how you're growing, what some of the top priorities are for your company.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably very similar to lots of manufacturers. I mean, our key priorities are always safety, so safety of our people, safety of our food. We have a big responsibility to the American consumers. Quality, making sure that they meet the quality standards all the time. And then great levels of customer service. It's hard to service 4,000 stores and keep all those customers happy unless you've not got the product available. So there are 3 things, but it's all predicated on a very highly skilled workforce. We've got fantastic teams at Kettle and all of the plants that are working very hard all the time, and it's always a process of training, developing and improving what we do, and by and large that's driven through people.
We talked about the scale. Danielle has this going to 4,000 stores. You're doing 60,000 gallons a day of soup out of this facility here. You have an impressive fresh supply chain system I hope we get a chance to talk about as well. But before we do that, what would you share to other manufacturers who are hoping to have a similar type of experience like this? What would be some of your advice?
Well, I think that a couple of things. I mean, I think you've got to be patient. I mean, we've been on a very measured journey with Danielle and the team at Walmart about what do their consumers look for, what can we develop, try different things, and not expect overnight success. You've got to be patient with each other around the product, the value, and the consumer proposition. And I would say, we also try and stick to what we know. We're great at soup, we're great at sauces, and that way you become more efficient, more effective. You really understand how to make a great product consistently. So be patient and stick to what you're good at.
You're great at macaroni and cheese. I know it hasn't hit the store shelves yet, but you're great at it. Hey, Danielle, let's go to you for a minute and talk a little bit about how important your connection to manufacturers are across the country and the great work that's happening right here that Liam is doing as well.
Yeah, I think it's really unique, honestly, to find a partnership like we have with Kettle Cuisine. And that to me was really rooted on a lot of shared values. And there was just a real synergy between the 2 companies and then also the teams as well. And I think we both went into it, as Liam mentioned, with kind of a measured approach, right? It's not, we're trying to shoot for the moon on year 1. It's how do we look at this and kind of stair step a growth plan and have a longer term view of partnership. So that's really kind of where we see the most success with manufacturers, is where those kind of synergies align.
Liam, for manufacturers that are listening in today and thinking about a partnership with Walmart, what would you share with them?
A little bit about what both Danielle and just talked about there, but I think it's about really knowing your product, really knowing the market, and really being patient with Walmart. The team there knows what they're doing. I think they're on a very measured journey around really building their brand rather than other, CPG brands. And we've always been very open with them, and like Danielle said, there's a lot of common values around how we think about people, product, processes, and you've got to be really willing and able to make sure that you understand how Walmart likes to manage products and their offerings to their consumers.
I'd love to get both of your kind of comments on, as a manufacturer, Liam, from you, and as a company at Walmart, improving your commitment to the environment while also recognizing that we need to make a good product and a profitable product. Talk about how important some of those core values are, if you would, as a manufacturer.
Yeah, so there's a lot of core values about making sure we've got safe people, safe products, high quality products. But there's also a lot of other work that goes into the supply chain around animal welfare, husbandry, making sure that we're only buying proteins that don't have hormones, don't have antibiotics. Vegetarian animals are fed vegetarian diet. All of that side of things is incredibly important to make sure that not only have we got a high quality product, but we've got something with the provenance and authenticity that the consumers will respond to. And I know, again, that dovetails in with a lot of the values that Walmart expect of their food supply chain.
Talk about, let me come back, Danielle, I want to give you a chance to talk about that as well, and then I've got a wrap-up question here.
Yeah, perfect. So just to dovetail on that, so we have some pretty big initiatives internally around kind of three key pillars, which would be sustainability, U.S. manufacturing, and then also really supporting diverse owned businesses. So from a sustainability perspective, I believe it was just 2 weeks ago, we launched a bigger initiative than we have in the past, which has also been robust up to this point, but wanting to be a regenerative company, not just a sustainable company. And then obviously we've had a big push this month with U.S. manufacturing. So this is another great story that falls within that. So,
hey, let me pick up on something here. This is not in something we talked about, which is about COVID. You both have been on the front line of making sure people have food to eat at home and taking care of your associates and your team members and all. Can you spend just 20 seconds on that? Danielle, maybe you first and Liam second.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many complexities with COVID, both everyone's experiencing personally, and then through supply chains, volumes that we haven't had to push through supply chains, precautions that we've never had to think of before, differences in product categories as customers are changing their habits more fast than they ever have before. I think we've seen something like 3 years of digital growth compressed into just a couple months. So we've had to be really, really nimble and really in tune with where the customer's changing and moving, because it's literally changing every week. So it makes it exciting, but it's been a lot of challenges that make us kind of think on our feet.
Liam, you've done some impressive work here. I mean, this is always, when you're making food, you're always thinking about pathogens and being really focused on that. Can you talk just about what you've gone through as a company?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. One, yes, there's always hygiene, sanitation are always very important at the best of times. Clearly with COVID, it takes on a new level of meaning. But I think we've also felt a huge amount of responsibility as an essential manufacturer. America without food for just 4 or 5 days would soon get pretty chaotic. And, we've worked very, very hard to make sure that we play our part to keep the supply chain full, but keep our staff and our team safe at the same time.
Yeah, I think also a neat success story here for you is that fresh supply chain. That's a key ingredient for your success really here.
Yeah, it's an added complexity. Everything we do is perishable, whether it's something we've bought, something we're processing, something we're about to sell. So that whole supply chain is very demanding all the time, and then you've always got a clock ticking that can be a bit different to things like automotive, where you've got materials that don't change their shelf life while you're handling them. So it certainly keeps us busy, and we have to link very, very closely to Danielle's team around what do you need, how much do you need it, and when do you need it, and then we've got to do all that downstream work.
Danielle, let's maybe go to you with a closing comment. How excited are you to roll out a new product? Not every day do you get to roll out a new product, and I know it's in the stores, I think, next week. So closing thoughts about this?
Yeah, we're super excited about it. We usually roll out new products in this department about twice a year, so there's a lot of anticipation that builds up to that. It's one of my favorite parts about being a merchant is kind of obsessively checking how it's doing after it launches. And I couldn't be more proud of the work that the team has done on the quality. I think it's second to none and the value. So encourage everyone to go out and try it. You will not find anything better than it in the market.
Liam, some closing comments here before we wrap up this segment.
Yeah, I'd echo Danielle's comments. I mean, I'm very proud of the hard work that our team does every day in conjunction with Danielle's team. And yeah, we're very excited as well. I've got very high hopes for all these new products as the autumn approaches.
That's right. Well, thank you both for joining us. I enjoyed a lot of it. Let me tell you, while you were all talking, I was eating. So thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to continuing our work in partnership with both of you.
Thanks,
you.
Chris.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Now we're going to check in with a major ally for Washington agriculture producers at the state level, and that's State Senator Judy Warnick of the 13th Legislative District. Senator Warnick serves on the Senate Agriculture, Water, Natural Resources, and Parks Committee, and in 2017 was named the prestigious AWB Legislator of the Year for her hard work on behalf of small businesses throughout the state of Washington. Senator Warnick, it is good to see you. I wish you were here on set, but I know this is another Zoom call. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's great to be here. I was watching a little bit on your last segment. I was wishing I could sit there and taste those yummy looking products that you were talking
Well,
about.
let me tell you, it's a little cold over here, Senator Warnick, this morning. So it was warm and it filled my belly up.
Okay, good.
Hey, share with us, if you would, about your work to improve the state's food supply and how that can help family farms throughout Washington.
The major part that I'm doing right now is making sure we have enough water. Water for agriculture, water for families, water for fish. And it can be done in a balanced manner. So that's the first and highest priority I have, because I learned the other day irrigation for agriculture uses the most water in the state of Washington. But I am also on the governor's food security task force right now during this pandemic, and then a food policy work group that we're looking at trying to figure out what the best policy for family farms to get products out to the public. And we're looking at farmers markets, food banks, everything. So those are what I'm doing right at this moment.
Senator, as you think about engaging producers that you see in your district and all across the state, what can we do to help get our great farm products to market?
We need to keep those farm products in a healthy condition. And healthy means free of pesticides, free of weeds, noxious weeds. And we need to keep our export lines open. And to get those there, excuse me, we need to keep our transportation systems open. We've learned a lot lately about the costs of transportation, the maintenance of our roads. And people ask me why I support transportation infrastructure on the west side of the mountains. It's because we need to get our products to the ports. And so that's why I help vote for that and get them over the top of the mountains. Most of our products are grown in eastern Washington, and to export them, they need to go to western Washington. So good transportation. And then, part of the getting the products to market is truth in advertising. I've been working on bills that talk about whether it's really meat or a byproduct or a fake meat. That was my bill last year, was about fake meat. So all those, the main thing is the transportation and keep them healthy.
Senator, we just completed our 6th employer survey during COVID, and some of the facts coming back to us showed that small businesses are struggling during this pandemic. As you look ahead to the 2021 legislative session, what are 2 or 3 important issues the legislature can do to help this important sector of our economy, being small business?
We need to keep businesses operating in a safe manner, especially our small ones. I own a small business as well as a farm, and we want to keep our employees healthy. We want to keep our customers healthy. So give us the tools to be able to do that, make some suggestions, but not mandates. Cutting taxes, cutting expenses. If we could look at possibly setting aside the minimum wage increase for at least a period of time to help small businesses recover before they increase taxes or wages, and then be treated fairly. Small businesses need to be treated the same as our big box stores. We small businesses want to be able to part of the community as well. We're the backbone of the communities, and we need to be treated fairly in regulations and opportunities.
Well, I've got a bonus round question for you, Senator. And it's not, and I've asked this to legislators over our 5 days so far, which is in 30 seconds or less, how do we balance the state budget next year?
We cut spending. We've doubled the size of the budget since I was elected. We cut businesses' taxes and encourage businesses by cutting those taxes to locate in Washington and stay in Washington. Businesses create the jobs. That's what we need to balance our budget.
Senator,
30 seconds?
Senator, you did that the shortest, I think, of anyone so far. So thank you for joining us. Great job. Wish you were here on set today. You could be enjoying some great agricultural products with me.
Too. Perfect lunchtime meal.
Stay safe out there, Senator.
You too. Bye.
All right. Thank you, Senator Warnick, for joining us. We're just getting started, folks, and I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for making the 2020 Manufacturing Week possible. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Premera Blue Cross. Premera is investing over $250 million to improve access to care, combat homelessness, and support programs that address behavioral and mental health issues in our local communities. No matter where you are, they're like us, in your corner to help and be of assistance. I also want to thank our other segment sponsors, including Walmart, Boeing, UPS, and Talking Rain. Now it's time for another great Washington success story, and that is Talking Rain, the official beverage sponsor of this year's 2020 manufacturing tour. Chris, if you want to know what it is, it's strawberry watermelon that I'm hosting up. It has been really helpful to us this week. We were in Walla Walla, where it reached 90+ degrees. Talking Rain is the maker of sparkling ice, and we're joined today by their CEO, Chris Hall. Chris has been with Talking Rain Beverage Company since 2007 and quickly rose through the ranks from Director of Sales to Vice President of Sales and Chief Operating Officer, and in 2018 was appointed as Chief Executive Officer. Chris, welcome into Manufacturing Week.
Hi, Chris. Thank you for having us.
Hey, and thank you for partnering up with us. It's really appropriate that we're talking about food and beverage today and some really great success stories. I think you'd agree Talking Rain has got a great success story for our state.
We do, yeah. Talking Rain has actually been a local company here in Washington State for over 33 years, founded just outside of Seattle in a town called Preston. And we've been for the longest time a local staple, most recently a national item with the brand Sparkling Ice. But Talking Rain as a brand has been around quite a while, and in this greater Seattle market has been a household name for 30+ years.
Strawberry watermelon tastes really good this morning, Chris, just so
nice,
you know.
Especially for that heat.
Hey, as you think about, I just wrapped up a conversation with Senator Warnick here a few minutes ago, talking about what the state can do to help employers in this state. What would be your message to employers about what can they do to help create a stronger manufacturing environment?
So from our perspective, what more the state could do to help us is first, obviously let's handle what we're dealing with right now, COVID. So once we get to that point where there's a vaccine, to make sure there's infrastructure put in place for a rapid distribution of a vaccine. So that would be helpful just to put at ease the people's minds and what's going on. Second, the biggest thing being a manufacturer is the last thing we want is a disruption in our supply chain. So I want to make sure the state is still staying focused on doing what they can to support our infrastructure, i.e. continue the road projects, make sure we continue to invest in our infrastructure so there is no disruption in supply chain. And then lastly, this is the next biggest thing, and it probably touches all of us personally, is COVID has disrupted everything, and we have a lot of working parents, and school may or may not go back. When it does go back, to put people more at ease is if the state could put more investment into testing, providing PPE, and just supporting that to make sure we get things back to normal to alleviate some of that stress that these working parents are carrying right now.
Chris, Talking Rain's an essential manufacturer, and no doubt your employees have been on the front line during COVID. Can you just share with us a little bit about your size, how many employees you have, and how hard they've been working during COVID-19?
Yeah, sure, Chris. So we have about 400 people nationally. Of that 400, 200 of them are located in the Washington state market. And since COVID hit, all of us have been all hands on deck. Our field employees have actually stayed, and our thought process is if our retailers and distributors are working, we're going to be shoulder to shoulder with them through this, because we felt there was an obligation to make sure the shelves stay stocked. And we did everything possible, especially during that March, April timeframe when we had those big peaks, that our team was doing everything possible to make sure if a consumer was looking for a bottled beverage, our bottled beverages were there. During that time, we've actually hired 60 more people in the greater Washington area to support our business and just to make sure we're giving back. And when the pandemic started, we actually hired a lot of displaced service employees that were actually just literally out of work because there was nothing for them to do, and do that as far as giving back in the Washington state.
Pretty impressive, your commitment to help another industry out when they're facing some tough times, Chris. Thank you for joining us. I know you're very busy today. We're going to welcome in a couple more of your colleagues as we go throughout the show, but thank you for your support of our Manufacturing Week program.
Thanks, Chris. This is a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Now let's hear from the person in charge of making all of this stuff happen at Talking Rain, and that's Adam Conway, the Director for Northwest Operations. Adam, welcome on in. Adam, welcome on into today's program.
Hello.
Hey, can you share with us a little bit about Talking Rain's manufacturing operations? They're really impressive. Just share for our audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Talking Rain Preston consists of about 60 hourly employees, including facilities, 10 salary employees, and 2 production lines. Our bottling line batches syrups and packages them into finished cases, and our Rainbow line combines multiple flavors into packs. We have 2 warehouses here in Preston and then a distribution center in Kent.
You've had some nice growth for many years here, including during COVID. Can you talk about expansion plans at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So the growth is exciting, absolutely exciting, but we do have to keep pace with that. So next year we are planning to do a 30% increase with our equipment upgrades next year on our production line, and up to 100% increase in production on our Rainbow line. In addition, we're going to be expanding our Kent warehouse size as well. So growth is definitely happening.
You know, speaking of that growth and wanting to do that here, I think something that's really impressive is your commitment to be a 100% U.S. manufactured company. Talk about not only the commitment to do that here, but the commitment to do it here in our great state of Washington.
Yeah, outsourcing really just isn't an option for maintaining the level of quality and food safety that our brand demands and stands for. Chris mentioned earlier too about the complexities of supply chains, and that increases when you start to outsource. Talking Rain was born here and has cultivated business and community roots in the region. A lot of our employees are from here. I'm from here, and are proud to be a positive economic and philanthropic entity in the community. As an employer, we focus our culture on respect, career development, and making connections with our communities and our employees.
I gotta tell you, I had a chance to tour the facilities, I think it was last fall. Truly impressed by your team, your commitment to culture, and more importantly, your commitment to communities. Thanks for stopping in. We'll see you again here soon.
Thanks, take care.
All right, next it's my privilege to welcome in David Kearns. David is the Talking Rain's Vice President of Sales. David, welcome on in. Welcome on in, David. Thank you for joining us. David has the important responsibility of being the Vice President for Sales for the company. We're glad you could join us today.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the invite.
Hey, as we've heard about expansion plans, Chris did a great job talking about the employees. What type of product launches might you be excited about?
That's a great question. Talking Rain is a family of brands, and our core brands right now are Sparkling Ice. We have a Sparkling Ice plus caffeine, and our original Talking Rain sparkling waters. In 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, our team launched some new items, including Talking Rain Essentials, Talking Rain Hydration, as well as entered into the pH alkaline water category with Talking Rain Essentials Hydration. Additionally, we ventured into the spiked seltzer category this year with Sparkling Ice Spiked.
Let's talk a little bit about your important partnership with Walmart. What has that meant for Talking Rain? Talk a little bit about that if you would.
Yeah, it's meant a lot, Chris. Throughout the pandemic, our team's been out in the stores making sure that the shelves are full, people are staying home and making sure they have products that they want and seek. We've done that with Walmart as well as all of our other customers across the country. And again, we can't thank Walmart and our customer base enough for the support that they've given us, as well as their commitment to support the communities in which they operate.
Speaking of products, I like the strawberry watermelon this morning. I was telling Chris that earlier here this morning. It goes good with my mac and cheese I'm having. Hey, this is a region, the Pacific Northwest is a region home to a number of beverage brands. What would be your advice to folks who are thinking about the beverage business in general?
Yeah, it's another great question, Chris. I've been doing this for a long time in my career. I guess the key part is do your homework. Beverage distributors are approached constantly with new innovation, new brands that are both mainstream and somewhat out there. The key when you do that, though, is not to create products necessarily that people say they want to buy, but those that they're actually going to go into a store and purchase.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. I know the Talking Rain is on a dead run today. Thank you for joining us to talk about how important food, ag, and production in the great state of Washington is. Be safe out there, David.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
We're going to take a short commercial break, but please stay with us. We have Walmart's call to manufacturers and 2 leading trade officials from Mexico and Canada coming right up after this break.
Primera Blue Cross is in your corner, wherever it may be. We're there for you at the corner of hustle and bustle, providing health plans for the most innovative companies in a region that's booming. We're also in the corners of places that aren't measured by size to ensure rural communities are well cared for too. We're in your corner for the bumps in the road and the long roads ahead, partnering with Seattle Cancer Care Alliance to have Primera people on site. We're in your corner the exact moment you need us, and when a whole community's in need, investing millions to fund mental health services and fight teenage homelessness. Primera is in these corners, and these corners, every day, working hard to make healthcare work better. We're Primera Blue Cross, and we're always in your corner.
Life is different these days, but that's not stopping us from living. Like spending quality time with family, supporting local small businesses, and doing what's right to keep each other safe. At U.S. Bank, we're doing our part to turn words into action. We're committed to investing in diverse communities by increasing grants and capital to support small businesses, housing, and workplace advancement. Together, we can create the momentum for positive change. Learn more at usbank.com/action.
Solis is a medical device technology company. We're focused on the wellness market with treatment of vitamin D deficiency through ultraviolet phototherapy. This is a very competitive labor environment, and so we really need to make sure that we attract high-end talent. Having a competitive healthcare package is extremely important. Going with AWB Health Choice, I think, was a good decision for us. It makes us more competitive in the market. Good healthcare is good business.
Agriculture is the largest employer in the state of Washington, and yet it's fundamentally a family enterprise.
We raise our families on the same ground that we're farming.
One of the biggest challenges we have is trying to be compliant with all the regulations that are in place today.
rules on top of rules on top of rules that make it almost impossible for farm families to succeed. There's a sense of heritage you have here. I think that's a vital part of what this state is about.
Welcome on back, everyone, to AWB's 2020 Manufacturing Week Live. Coming to you today from Kettle Cuisine here in Everett. I'm Chris Johnson, President and CEO of AWB. In previous years, we were lucky enough to connect with dozens of manufacturing firms all over the state. There's such rich diversity in our manufacturing sector, especially the outstanding agricultural products that our state has to offer. George Riddell, the President and CEO of Big House Media Productions, has put together a highlight video, and George was with us part of this week. Let's take a quick look. Now I want to take a moment to thank Walmart for sponsoring today's show, and especially for their support of the annual open call for U.S. manufactured products. This year, the number of applicants was up a staggering 44% to 4,800 small businesses that wanted to show off their innovations. We know personally of many Washington businesses who opened dialogue with Walmart thanks to this program. Alafia Alawanjo, whose president serves on the AWB board and profiled in a number of our programs, answered such a call. As Walmart CEO Doug McMillan noted, ingenuity is alive and well in the U.S. We would echo that and say it's alive and well in Washington State. Let's take a quick look at this year's highlight video.
This is one of our favorite days of the year at Walmart.
It's a day that represents opportunity for Walmart, for our customers, and for each of you.
No matter what our member looks like, we're all about offering great items at a great value, so we can't wait to see what you have to share with us.
Walmart e-commerce is growing, and we want you to grow with us.
In times of crisis and in times of change, there is always opportunity that presents itself. Like you said, you found a few people, you got on the bus, you're making it work. So I think that there will be businesses that can be born during this time, or businesses that were strong will be much stronger after.
We value entrepreneurs. We were founded by one, and we still have that spirit in our DNA. For a merchant, there's nothing more satisfying than finding a product you know a customer is going to love.
Opportunity sure is plentiful here at Walmart. Nowhere else will you find as many channels and avenues for success as you have right here.
Thank you, Walmart, for this opportunity to present our Made in USA product. It's a life changer for a small company like ours.
Welcome on back, everyone, to Everett. What a great opportunity that is for Washington manufacturers. Thank you to Walmart for sponsoring today's show. Now we're going to hear more about another major Walmart initiative, and that's the company's distribution center in Grandview. Here to tell us more is Walmart Public Affairs Director, Deborah Heron. And hey, we're both enjoying some sparkling ice this morning. What's yours?
It's fall, Chris.
It is fall. By the way, that's why I had to keep eating this. I need to stay warm here this morning. We've seen a 35-degree weather change.
My soup is on the stove, so I'll have some when we're done. But you know, fall weather soup, great flavors, great produce that comes through our distribution center, and also flu season. So even though we're not sending out the flu vaccines through our distribution center, it is that time of year, and just a little reminder that everyone should go get their flu shot. We make it really easy.
You have an impressive facility there in Grandview. Share with us just a few minutes for people who may not know, what are the products that all come out of there and where are they headed to?
Yeah, sure, Chris. Happy to do that. And it's great to be joining you and AWB and everyone who's tuning in. Our distribution center in Grandview has been there for quite some time. Folks there know about it, and we're happy to have this opportunity, really, because you're doing the virtual platform. It allows us to give you an invitation and take a look inside, which we'll do here in a few minutes. But in that distribution center, it's known as one of our fresh DCs. So that means that most of our food products go through that distribution center and then go from there to support our stores in a pretty big region. Inside, you'll find from Washington State pears and cherries. Of course, Washington apples. I think a study we worked on with you a few years ago, the number of bushels that go through our DC of Washington apples ranges in the 7 to, I think, 9 figures, maybe more. So it's all kinds of foods and shelf-ready produce and those kinds of grocery items that you're going to find in our grocery pickup service.
Distribution centers like this play a really important role in the economic economy of their region. Can you talk a little bit about the economic impact that this center has on the region?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just the distribution center. We've got over 1,000 employees between the folks who work on the warehouse side, to our logistics and transportation teams that take all of the items on pallets and deliver them to our stores. We've also got 6 stores in the area, a couple in Yakima, also heading out towards Pasco, Kennewick. And then we also have a global food sourcing office, and that team focuses specifically on our relationships with local growers. And they do the meetings, they help source the products, they make sure that the relationships are developing the way that they should be. So that economic impact goes not just within our facility, but expands out into the communities. We take being a community member very seriously, including giving back when we can, from wildfires that Washington just experienced, thankfully not so much impacting people in the Yakima Valley recently, but certainly COVID has taken a big role. We've been partnering with the Yakima Union Gospel Mission and just awarded them a $20,000 grant on Friday for some work that they're doing to help folks through COVID, and many others.
Hey, if I'm a producer listening into today and said, geez, you know, I'm really interested in that program at Walmart, where would they go to learn more, or how would they get connected?
Oh, great question, Chris. So last Thursday was our U.S. Open Call event. More than 4,800 companies applied this year. It's our 7th annual. And there were 850 who had meetings with buyers on last Thursday. 22 of those are Washington entrepreneurs, and I'm sitting on pins and needles to find out who got selected. But it's real easy. Each year we invite any entrepreneur who wants to try selling a product with Walmart to visit engage.walmart-jump.com. And this is part of our 10-year, $250 billion commitment to U.S. manufacturing, investing in American jobs. We know that that is part of the ecosystem that we live in. And while we're the retailer that doesn't make anything, we are an employer of people, and we are a showcaser of the things that customers want.
I'll tell you, we've been really proud to help you highlight this important initiative, and you've been with us every year on this journey as we've done Manufacturing Week. How about 30 seconds of just some closing comments?
Well, first of all, Chris, thank you and AWB for putting this together. As you know, we're all part of Washington's investment, and manufacturing is such a strong part, whether it's Boeing and airplanes. You've talked today to Kettle Cuisine and Talking Rain, who are part of the Agriculture, Food, and Beverage Network. It really spreads the gamut to breweries, wineries. All of that does come together in retail, and that's why we've just been such a strong supporter. I do miss signing my name on the bus today, so I wish I could go out to your SUV and do it. But as we said, the virtual piece is a display of the times, lets you change up the format a bit. And like I said, we're just really thrilled to invite you in to see our distribution center here in a few minutes.
Well, we too missed the bus. Enjoy your sparkling ice. Get ready to enjoy your soup from Kettle Cuisine. Let's take a quick look inside what's happening in Grandview.
Thanks, Chris.
Hi, and welcome to Grandview, Washington. You're going to be going on a trip with us through our distribution center on a virtual tour. We are at the Walmart Distribution Center in Grandview, Washington, which is in the Yakima Valley. My name is Kathleen Foster. I'm the general manager here, and we service 131 stores in 5 different states. We service Washington, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Alaska. In this distribution center, we have 997 associates currently. 137 of those work in our transportation department, and the rest of them work out in our DC. As you go on this virtual tour, you're going to hear some descriptions of what you're going to see, and you're going to see some of our associates, and I hope you enjoy yourself, and thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Aaron Rodriguez. I'm the HR manager here at Walmart DC 7021, a grocery facility in Grandview, Washington. A little bit about me. I've been with the company for coming up on 23 years. This is my second building. I spent first part of my career in a regional, and now I've gone over to grocery. I've spent 12 years in the operations on the floor and the last 10 in HR, and it's going to be my pleasure to take you on a tour of our facility today. So one of the first places we like to start is on our dry building. The operation is very similar in our facility. We have two divisions. We've got a perishable side and a dry side. And the dry side is basically like it sounds, dry goods, ambient temperature, things that don't need to be temperature controlled, that can sit for a while in a rack. Talking about your canned goods, talking about your bottled waters, soups, box foods, pastas, those types of things. We actually have pet food as well. And so how our operation works is we basically have two sides to each facility. We have a receiving dock and a shipping dock. And so on the receiving dock, that's where our vendor trucks are coming in. We have associates that will unload those trucks. They'll take inventory of the product coming off the truck. They'll actually give it what's called a tag, slot tag, which will basically assigns it a location in the facility. And then we have associates that will haul that off the dock, stage it in an aisle. Other associates come through, take that pallet, put it up into the racks, and that's kind of our receiving process. Then on the flip side is our order filling, or outbound shipping side. So our order fillers will go through. They use a voice system for their order filling. It's voice recognition, so there's no paper that they're carrying. The system will tell them where to go in the building and how many cases of each item to pick as they go through, and then they'll stack it on the pallets. And those pallets are actually a store order. So an order filler can probably lift close to 2,700 pounds in a trip sometimes, depending on what it is. And so they'll do that 10, 12 times trips a day. So it's pretty labor intensive. But once those pallets are finished being order filled, they'll be taken to the shipping dock. Over on the shipping dock, they go through what's called the wrap machine. So they get shrunk wrapped together, shrunk wrapped tight. Then they'll get staged on the dock, put on a specific trailer for that particular store. We have associates that'll load it onto the store, or excuse me, onto the trailer for a particular store. And then that trailer gets sealed up and shipped out. We're in the Yakima Valley. It's agricultural base. And you know, we ship a lot of products that are grown local here in Washington, even local in the community. You know, we have carrots coming out of Prosser, peppers out of Prosser. We've got Washington apples, pears, just a variety of product from Washington State. We even have you know, juicing facilities and fruit processing plants nearby, and you know, we carry products from Welch's, Treetop, those types of items. And so it's a connection we have, and that's really nice to have a grocery facility located in the heart of the agricultural business. Is phenomenal. What's interesting about the perishable operation is it's really 2-in-1. Because it's one building and it's got to be temperature controlled, there's different temperature zones. So it'll range from 54, 56 degrees in our dry produce all the way down to -20 in our ice cream room. And so product is kept in its natural temperature for freshness. What's great about our process is during the morning time is our meat and produce receiving operation. And so our products for meat and produce are being received. And then in the afternoon, those products will be shipped out. And we do that so we can turn it quickly because we want that freshness for our customer. We want to be able to ship it out today, receive it today, ship it out today. It's in the store tomorrow morning and it's on your shelf in the afternoon. So one of the unique features about our business is what we call the banana rooms. Very exciting process is we actually get bananas from, you know, Costa Rica. They'll come up, they'll be green, hard, just right off a tree. You can't do anything with them. So we actually have what's called ripening rooms. We call them banana rooms. And so they're staged inside these rooms. These rooms hold $40,000 to $50,000 worth of bananas, and bananas are actually the #1 selling item at Walmart. As far as volume in and out of this facility, we're looking at about 2,700 trucks a week and about 4.7 million cases handled. When you think about our operation and our transportation team, you know, hats off to them. You know, they're driving 5 days a week away from their families. They're hauling the products to America, and they're real heroes in our book. And we're just really proud of them. You know, we've got facilities for them where they can come and shower, place to eat, place to cook their food. You know, and when they're on the road, they even have a nice sleeper in their cabs. And so, you know, we are very proud of our drivers. We like to take care of them because they take care of us and they take care of our customer. So within our facility, we actually have our own maintenance team. Maintenance team comprised of about 25 to 30 mechanics, and they're responsible for taking care of the equipment. So we do all our own repairs in-house. We have our own battery room. We have our own energy center, which drives our perishable building. Actually runs the air conditioning for the office part of the building as well, so it's very efficient. But it's very technical, it's very technically driven, and we're very proud of that team. We've had people come in and just ooh and ah at how we operate from an energy center standpoint, how our maintenance team works, how well the shop is organized and clean and safe, and that's really what's important. Our motto is Somos Familia, we are family, and we take that to heart. We care about our associates, and our associates care about us and the work that they do.
When others feared what was to come, you saw a sliver of light, opportunity. And while some tried to go back, you're going all in, rethinking, reinventing, smashing through new barriers and old fears. And we're right there with you, in the trenches, still grinding, still climbing, as you rally and rise. You are the one who can make this whole world turn. So be bold, be brave, be unstoppable.
Felipe Marina is the largest privately owned marina on the West Coast, 1,250 slips. We're a small company, and year in, year out, Health Choice has provided us the most comprehensive plan. And in speaking with our employees, it provides what they want, and that's the most important thing. If you have happy employees, you have happy customers. And when you have happy customers, then you have a successful business. It's a very key component. It all goes hand in hand.
Here, along the magnificent Puget Sound, more than 4 million people rely on Puget Sound Energy to meet the region's growing demand for natural gas and electricity. Headquartered in Bellevue, Washington, Puget Sound Energy is the state's largest and oldest energy utility, with roots stretching back almost 140 years. The company's sprawling service area covers one of the most vibrant, progressive, and economically robust regions in the United States, home to some of the world's most successful and innovative businesses, including Microsoft, Starbucks, Amazon.com, Nordstrom, Costco, the Boeing Commercial Airplane Group, and Nintendo America. Puget Sound Energy owes its longevity in part to an unshakable commitment to service and an industry reputation for vision and leadership, now and in the future.
MOD exists to serve people. Spreading modness is defined as the ripple effect of simply doing the right thing. We are unapologetically for profit, but our purpose is to make a positive social impact. This year alone, through pizza sales, we've been able to raise enough money to help pack over 500,000 meals for hungry kids, using business to make positive impacts on as many lives as possible. And that's what MOD Pizza has become.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. A special thank you to our Manufacturing Week sponsors, including UPS, Puget Sound Energy, Alaska Airlines, Avista, and Boeing, just to name a few. I want to welcome back my friend Liam from Kettle Cuisine, who's going to join me for this segment. Liam, welcome back.
Thanks, Chris.
He probably was in sampling some more of that great macaroni and cheese, folks. Now it's my pleasure to welcome two of our country's most valued trading partners for today's show. Jerome Puchella is the Consul and Senior Trade Commissioner at the Consulate General of Canada in Seattle. And Hector Ivan Godoprsky is Consul General for the Consulate of Mexico, also based in Seattle. In 2019, Washington exported about $4.1 billion to Mexico and $14.2 billion of products to Canada. In fact, Kettle Cuisine was just one of those products that have gone over the border, so I've invited their CEO back to join us for the conversation. Naturally, the U.S. imports many great products from these two countries as well, and they're an important part of our supply chain. Consulate Generals, welcome in. Wish we were doing this not virtually, but in person. But welcome into today's show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you very much.
All right, Jerome, let's start with you and let's talk about USMCA and how this new trade agreement is going to impact our three countries together.
Well, thank you very much. First, thank you for hosting me in my lovely apartment. It's a pleasure to be with everybody. And needless to say, I've got the chat open, so I welcome any questions if you want. So the USMCA, we're very, very happy that the United States and Mexico and Canada have signed and ratified the agreement. As we all know, NAFTA was over 25 years old. NAFTA needed to be updated because the economy has changed so much in 25 years. And we've really moved towards an economy that's more streamlined. And we listened to what the industry was telling us. And the industry, the government of Canada spoke with every segment of the industry from one coast to another for several months, asking them what they wanted to be changed in what is essentially the modernization of NAFTA and turned into the USMCA. So the impact will be for the industry, will be positive for the industry, because at the end of the day, what we want is to make sure that the trade between our three countries, which is integrated fully, all the supply chains, we want to see that grow, and we want to foster it as much as possible. We value our American and Mexican partners excessively, and we really want to make sure that the three countries can thrive together.
You know, picking up on that for a minute, Washington is the most trade-driven state of the 50 states. You can't be the most trade-driven state and not make amazing products, whether they be aeroplane software or great food and beverage like what we're talking about here today. Thank you for getting us started with that. Let me go to Hector and talk about how has this pandemic impacted trade between our two countries?
Well, the impact of the pandemic has been significant. What we saw was about a 40% decline of imports from the United States and a 52% decline in exports from the United States. And again, this was May, April. Then those numbers dipped a little bit more as May arrived. However, what we did see was a significant increase in June and July, in August. So in August, we started getting more back towards normalcy, and we're hoping to see more of a recovery in September. Of course, these are not ideal numbers when we're talking about trade. Any significant cutback in trade is always not something that we're all happy about. However, this is a very unique event in our world at the moment. What we did see as well was just how resilient North America was, however, to the impact of COVID-19. What I mean by this is in the early days of COVID-19, there was quite a bit of concern about if we would be able to maintain supply chains and if we were going to be able to maintain the classification of essential personnel for people who have to cross the border for their jobs. As we know, in North America as a grouping now, we have quite a few people who work cross-border. And we were able to demonstrate this, that as a region, we were actually able to come together, that we were able to make sure that the people who were essential workers were able to cross those borders, and we were able to ensure that these supply chains were disturbed as little as possible. So that is a significant accomplishment that we have had here in North America, and something that I'm very happy to say that we're very much happy to have had this strong partnership with our partners here in the United States and our partners in Canada as well.
Boy, you know, trade is so important. It's really an item that connects us both together. Go ahead, Jerome, were you going to jump in there?
I just wanted to add two quick things. Absolutely what Hector said, the same has happened for us. And we're proud that, you know, truck drivers have still been able to cross the borders and to deliver the goods and to keep the supply chain going. That's absolutely true. One thing that I've noticed about the pandemic is actually an increase of interest for Canadian companies in Washington State, especially for companies that are smaller and that are in technology, also in aerospace, because all the events have gone virtual. And therefore, in the past, if a company wanted to attend a conference in Seattle, for instance, they would have to commit to time and money. And especially if you're a small company or a medium-sized enterprise, it's not always easy to do so. Time is very scarce. Now, with events being virtual, we've seen an increase twofold, sometimes threefold of Canadian companies attending those events organized in Seattle and Washington State at large. So I'm hopeful that it bodes well for the future for an increased collaboration between Canada and Washington.
Let me invite my friend Liam in to ask a couple questions, if you would. Liam?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I was going to ask the consuls, specific to Washington State, does either consul have thoughts on opportunities for increasing trade that would benefit Washington State industries?
Well, I think if you don't mind, Jerome, I could go. I could start off here. Now, the potential of trade between Washington and Mexico, particularly, is significant. What we know is that Mexico remains the second largest home for Washington non-permanent products, so food, paper, those sort of goods. And there's also with the USMCA that can always increase. Mexico has always been an important import of Washingtonian dairy products. It has been an important home for Washingtonian agricultural products. And also with the USMCA, the market for things like Washingtonian wine is wide open. Washington definitely has a lot of potential to increase its presence in Mexico. Now, Mexico has always been also a home for Washington products such as aerospace and aerospace products. But what we are seeing as well is that there's also a potential to create a more resilient network here based in North America. Of course, when we're talking about the international trade market, a stable, cooperative market is always best for everybody. But we have seen just how unstable these markets can be in times of crisis. And what we've demonstrated here in North America is just how strong the in North America trade network can be, especially with the USMCA. The potential of expanding Washingtonian trade with Mexico, with Canada, is incredible. It's something that we are all experiencing considerably, and something that we can link our industries closer together. I think that Washington will greatly benefit from this.
If I can echo what Hector said, and most of what Hector said about Mexico bodes for Canada as well. One thing that we have is that, of course, Washington State is a border state, so the proximity for companies in Washington State to do business with British Columbia or even Alberta, it's actually closer and much faster to ship their products through the border than it would be to go on the east coast of the United States. So that's something which makes a natural fit between Canada and especially Western Canada with the States. But beyond that, if you look, Hector mentioned aerospace, so the aerospace industry is completely integrated between our three countries. If I look at Washington State and the sad news that we heard about Boeing, which I'm really sorry about, one solution there for the local suppliers to Boeing could be to look up north as well, and to look at partners that would be mostly in Eastern Canada, mostly in the province of Quebec and Ontario, but there are some in British Columbia as well. There's a cluster of aerospace companies in Abbotsford, British Columbia, which is just a couple of hours away from Seattle. So the solution there, when the local market weakens, at least temporarily, could be to look at your best partners that are Canada and Mexico, and the USMCA is perfect for that. When I mentioned that we did what the industry wanted, part of that was also to simplify and modernize all the paperwork that is required to cross the border. And that's been done, and that's to the benefit of manufacturers that want to trade with Canada and Mexico.
Great. Just as a quick follow-up question, I was also wondering what your thoughts might be on Washington State manufacturing in general, and whether you view them as a world-class supplier of goods and services.
Do you want to go, Hector, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go ahead this time?
Okay. So the manufacturing sector in Washington State is really strong, but I think that the main strength of it, the key strength of it, is innovation and how innovative most of the companies here are. And I see it daily when I reach out to companies from the Fortune 500s to companies much smaller, and go to them with technology that a Canadian startup might have invented, and they're willing to see if a company from Washington State would want to try it. And that it's really well received. So I think innovation by far is the strength of this state, and it's part of its DNA, I want to say. And that's why, you have Microsoft, the Amazons of this world that are headquartered here, and that trickles into the culture of the States. And I think it also mirrors what we see in British Columbia, which is so similar culturally to what you have in the Pacific.
Well, I would like to echo much of what Jerome has said. It's correct. I mean, yes, the influence of Washington's manufacturing can be felt worldwide. What I would also like to compliment Washington manufacturing on is how quickly it was able to adapt to Governor Inslee's request that more PPE equipment would be produced here to meet the needs here of Washington State. So that's something that we would like to laud Washington manufacturing for. Again, Mexico remains one of Washington manufacturing's biggest importers. And yes, Washington manufacturing are certainly world-class products, and they are certainly a world-class place to receive these goods from. So certainly I would like to say a lot of the same things that Jerome did, but for the sake of time, I will simply add these few things to what we had already mentioned.
Well, Hector, you teed up our next segment, which we're not going to go to yet, which is all about PPE. So we echo your comments on that. Jerome, did you want to pick up something there?
No, I just said, like, the fact that we echo one another, I think, and we did not plan that. So it really showcases how aligned our three countries are in business and trade and political relationships, and the USMCA is a testament to that.
You know, I'd like to pull Liam into this next question as well, but maybe I'll start, Hector, with you, which is, what's your outlook look like for trade? As you think about trade more globally in general, are you bullish for 2021? Are you bearish on 2021? Or is it maybe mixed news?
Well, I would not like to make a prediction for 2021, as 2020 has taught us something, is to never be too bold in predictions. But what I will say is that it's important to be optimistic about trade in 2021. We are definitely going into 2021 with all the right tools to ensure that particularly North America is ready to make some big moves on trade. We have no reason to suspect at the moment that there won't be a very strong recovery and that trade will resume at pre-COVID levels very quickly. And we're hoping that further integration and further integration between all three of our countries and further integration of supply and more manufacturing happening here in North America, especially with the increase in North American production necessary to avoid tariffs. We would say that will definitely create a more competitive North America, and that's something that we're very, very happy about. I don't do predictions at this moment, but I would say let's look at 2021 optimistically.
Jerome?
Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball. If I was to make a prediction, I agree with Hector that I suspect there will be some more reshoring. So maybe a will from companies at first to make sure that their supply chains are within our three countries or within North America, and maybe less from other parts of the world. And the reason for that is that we've learned through the pandemic that yes, we're resilient. Both governments and the private sector have worked extremely hard to make sure that food and life science equipment, PPEs of course, but also critical manufacturing kept running smoothly and in the past 7 months. And that I think will have an impact. I'm mostly thinking about the aerospace industry there. When I was talking to various companies from Washington State over the past few months who said that they were worried about their supplies coming from Asia, rightfully or wrongfully, and that they were instead looking at new suppliers in Canada and Mexico. So we'll see if that tendency holds. But for the immediate future, so for 2021, that's probably the only prediction I would make, and which I assume is likely to materialize.
Liam, let me bring you in, thinking about your sector here in food and beverage and all. What's your thoughts about 2021?
Yeah, I agree it's hard to predict, but I think 2021 is uncertain. But you know, I'm cautiously optimistic. We have certainly had a big damage to the hospitality and food service industry, and I think that will take a while to recover. It's the same kind of issues that people face around air travel and just moving around. But on the retail front, the American consumer is still very strong. The American engine runs very quickly when consumers get more confident. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but it is a very uncertain and difficult year to predict.
Consoles.
And if I may add something, just some sectors, as you said, Liam, some sectors will do better than others. That being said, the knowledge economy in Washington State is so strong, and I mentioned before that I'm seeing a really increased interest from Canadian companies in Washington State because of the virtual events taking place. So I think that bodes well for Washington State as a whole, especially in high tech.
Let me go to you, and what would you like listeners today, let me go to the consuls on this one, what would you like listeners to know about either our partnership together as a state and the two countries, how we're connected on trade? What would be an important message you want to share with our audience today? Jerome, let's maybe start with you if we can.
So one thing that typically most people in the United States who are in business don't know is that Canada is by far the largest trade partner of the United States as a whole. And that we buy more American products than China, Japan, South Korea, and the United Kingdom combined. So when you're looking at Canada, we're not just a friendly neighbor to the north. We're also your biggest partner. It matters that the relationship between Canada, the United States, and Mexico be kept as strong and resilient as possible. And if you're looking for a trading partner or for a buyer, look up north. We might only be 36 million people, but we're fully integrated with the US. And we're just literally, as far as British Columbia is concerned, just a couple of miles away from you. So we are your natural partner, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you, Jerome. Hector?
Well, if I might, in the most friendly way possible, challenge my fellow consul, I believe that Mexico actually is the United States' largest trading partner as per 2019, although I do know it's an honor that we tend to exchange back and forth. So there's just a small little comment there. However, I would say that I do echo a lot of what of the importance of Canada in Canada as a partner for both the United States and for Mexico. What I think it's very important for a lot of firms to also realize is that many of the advantages that Mexico has is certainly Mexico's a country that is not significantly different profile than the United States and then Canada are in. But we also have a very, very young, a very dynamic, a very well-educated population. We have a lot of the benefits and advantages that many Asian countries also have. However, we are in-house. We are here in North America, and that's a very substantive thing, especially with the implementation of the USMCA. So that's something that I would like to echo is the strength of North America, the importance that we all have as trade partners, and just how resilient this region has been, but the importance on maintaining growth within this region as well.
Consuls, let me wrap this up with a couple thoughts. One is we're all connected. We're a globally connected economy, but we're all physically connected to each other. We have a commitment to make sure that USMCA is a successful product for all of our countries. We look forward to continuing this important conversation with you. And I'll bring a bottle of Washington wine to the next time we're all together doing this in person that we'll be able to join. And Liam, I want to say thank you for hosting us today. We've had an absolute great time being here and getting a behind-the-scene look at your company.
No, you're very welcome. It's been a great pleasure to host and have you all here seeing how we operate today.
All right, to Liam at Kettle Cuisine, to our consuls, thank you for joining us here. We appreciate all your support.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back everyone. As you heard in our last segment with the Consul Generals, we had a chance to talk about PPE, and it's only appropriate at this time we get to celebrate and recognize our PPE heroes. The Washington manufacturers who answered AWB and their governor's call early in the pandemic to manufacture personal protective equipment right here in Washington. PPE for Washingtonians, by Washingtonians, for all of us to use as we think about battling COVID-19. This equipment is incredibly valuable for our state. whether it be the production of face masks, gowns, and hand sanitizer. And we've had a chance during our 2020 manufacturing tour to hear firsthand about the great work being done on PPE in every corner of the state. Whether it's the 200 plus manufacturers who pivoted early to answer the governor's call for PPE, or our next speaker who we're about to spend a few minutes with talking about PPE. I want to give a big shout out to our friends at US Bank for their help in making today's show possible. With their support, we've been able to highlight a PPE hero in every market that we've been in. Our next guest is a true partner to us as we talk about our work in manufacturing, and whether it be in workforce development, PPE, or others, and that's Matt Pushbig. Matt, it's good to see you, my friend, by the way.
Good to see you too.
I got to do a little more setup for you, but the last time we were together was actually at your plant. We got to make something. Exactly. We got to assemble something and talk about the great careers in manufacturing, and I know you are so passionate about workforce development as well, but let me do a little more setup here. Matt's the Vice President and General Manager of Select Plastics, based right here in Everett. They are a leading injection molding company in the Pacific Northwest, and really for North America for that matter. Matt and his firm have been solid leaders in the manufacturing sector for so many years, especially around workforce development. If you've been at a workforce development conversation in this state, you've seen Matt playing an active role in conversation in that. Matt and his firm have been solid leaders in the manufacturing sector for many years, and I want to thank him for joining us. When the pandemic hit, true to form, Matt and his team stepped up to make masks. They called it part of their company's civic duty. So welcome to today's set, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, let's talk about, give us an overview before we jump into PPE, just a little bit about Select Plastics.
Select Plastics is a family-owned manufacturer located in the heart of Everett. We started injection molding in the mid-'80s and became independent as Select Plastics in 1995. We're a sister company to Seadog Corporation, and Seadog Corporation has been making marine and rigging hardware since the 1920s. So we have a long history of manufacturing under our belt.
You're kind of passionate about workforce development.
Oh, very much so, yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's almost by requirement, because I can't find the skilled workers, and I had to start training them myself. And I'm from Germany. I grew up in Germany and went through 2 apprenticeships, one of them being actually to become a farmer, which is fitting today for agriculture. So
Indeed,
that's actually why I thought you invited me.
We've got some food and beverage for you, so you're not going to leave hungry.
But anyway, so because I know the benefits of apprenticeship programs growing up in Germany, and came to find out that in America it's really hard to train these days, I basically started apprenticeships at Select Plastics, and so we have 2 apprenticeships, one for the tool and die maker, which is a 5-year program, and then one for the plastics process technician, which is a 4-year program. And that's kind of been the only way for us to train our own skilled workers per se, because we can't find them.
This is not part of our program today, but I just want to say thank you for your passion. Thank you for your commitment to exciting young people about careers in manufacturing. They are great careers, and I wish every person out there had your passion for workforce development. So thank you for what you're doing. Let's segue to talking about PPE, because that's equally exciting about what you did and why you did it. Can you share a little bit with us?
Sure, it's a great story. So basically in February, when everything kind of started to go crazy and nobody knew what's going to happen, and then mid-March, where basically we had to shut down, and people recognized the need for PPE, face masks, face shields, and so forth. Select didn't shut down because a lot of our customers needed essential products, not so much the face shield and the face mask, but other essential products. And I was just sitting there thinking, I have these injection molding machines, I have the tool and die making capabilities, what can I do? What can I do? And a customer called up and said, hey, are you guys making masks? No. Do you want to make masks? Yes. Well, there's this company in Montana who is making the Montana mask. And just quickly, 3 doctors at a hospital in Billings, Montana, saw the need for face masks, developed a face mask, designed a model in plastic, which was reusable, went out to the community and school districts, started 3D printing these face masks. And a local company there from Bozeman, Spark R&D, then said, well, we can do this way faster with injection molding. They took the original design, converted it to injection molding, built a mold within a week, and immediately kind of filled the pipeline of producing these masks. Luckily, the owner, Will Ritter, was very, very, very smart, and he put all of his files, all of the CAD files, all the programming for free on the internet, and said, people, if you're out there helping to produce these masks, feel free to use these files, contact me, whatever you want to do. So I told my staff about this, and I said, guys, what do you think? This is exactly what we were kind of hoping for. Are you with me? Can we do this? And they said, yeah, thumbs up. Sure, we can do this. And my engineering team working from home and my apprentices working at the shop, they had some aluminum on the shelf, turned around quickly, and we built an injection mold within a week, which is incredible. And I'm very proud that we did that. I didn't do it, but they did. But I'm very proud that we accomplished this and were able to start producing these masks and handing them out to the community.
Let's pick up on a theme about being proud. You said, hey, I'm really proud that our team was able to make these masks. Tell me about how proud they are to be a part of this effort.
I think they're very proud. I think they really appreciated the fact that us as a company was supporting this. Because nobody was paying us. I mean, we did this just by motivation, not by financial interest. For instance, the majority of the masks we donated. The few we sold at cost, and we actually also had some suppliers who donated the raw material to us. And so it was really an interest to serve rather than to see this as a future, bringing business to the company, and everybody was helping. Everybody was putting extra time, extra hours, especially the mold makers who stayed longer and came in over the weekend to do this.
You want to talk about what's next to you there?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is it. This is one of the Montana masks. They come in two sizes. This is the large size, and then there's a small size. And they're made out of elastomeric plastic, so it kind of adapts to your face. The filters are N95 compliant, and they can be replaced and reused. So we actually ship them out with a set of filters, so any frontline worker or any user can actually use them for quite a bit of time by just replacing and reusing the filters. And then the straps are just elastic, so to speak, which can be washed.
Let's maybe pivot here for just a second. Talk about what's the horizon look like for your company? As you look out ahead, you had a chance to hear us talking with the consuls about where we thought maybe trade was going next year. What's the horizon look like for your company?
It's very interesting. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I want to say this is the craziest year or the craziest time I've ever seen, and I'm certainly echoing many people, almost everybody. But as far as business is concerned, we were lucky. We didn't shut down. We didn't have to lay off anybody because we had essential customers with essential business. Well, their essential business became so essential that we were getting busier and busier. And by mid-May, it was almost like all customers we had started ordering more than they ever ordered. So we had already everybody back at work. So we started reaching out and trying to find new workers, which we couldn't. We couldn't find temp workers to fill in the shifts. We can't find skilled workers for, let's say, $15 an hour at all. They're not existent. Not even a worker who wants to work in manufacturing for $15 an hour is almost impossible. So we're really sitting there with a huge backlog of orders for our customers, which we can't fill because we don't have the workers. And it's crazy to me because when you hear the news, there's all these millions of people who are unemployed. Yes, we have a great stimulus package, and I'm extremely grateful that it happened, because I think that package kind of got us here. That package kind of kept us out of chaos, so to speak. But on the other hand, why can't we find any workers? And I'm not the only one. I mean, you talk to other business owners, they're in the same boat. And so, I don't know, the next 3 months, extremely busy. What's coming after that? I don't know. I hope it's going to continue. I hope the trust in our economy is going to continue, and we keep growing and bring people back to work. As for Select, we want to grow, we need to grow. So I'm optimistic.
Well, it truly is an uncertain period of time. This segment's called our PPE Hero. Matt, that's exactly what you and your team are. So please take back to your staff our applause, our recognition, and thank you for stepping up to make something that's important. It's part of our everyday life. If we would have talked a year ago and said PPE, I might have thought about a bunch of acronyms, not sure I knew what PPE meant. It's here, it's going to be here for a while. Thank you for being our PPE Hero.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having
Matt.
me.
Glad you're here today. All right, now we're going to transition into the final segment of today's show, the Manufacturing Excellence Award. Many thanks to UPS for sponsoring the Manufacturing Excellence Award, and today's award is in operational excellence. Each year, this is one of the most competitive awards that we have at AWB and recognizes a manufacturer in our state who has a distinctive manufacturing process, including continuous improvement, innovations, Lean and Six Sigma, and our application of high technology. The finalists for this year's award include 3 amazing companies: GM Nameplate, Novolex, and JT Printing Company. So without further ado, this year's Innovation Award winner is GM Nameplate. All right, Greg, hold up the award. We're going to show a quick video here in a second, but I think you got the hardware in front of you. I know it's a little heavy. Great. Excellent. Watch this short video. I'll be back to you and that great looking crew here in just a minute.
Oh, hey guys, Greg Root here, Chairman of GM Nameplate, headquartered in Seattle, Washington. We're the largest privately held manufacturing company in the city of Seattle, and we proudly serve a wide variety of different industries. Frankly, in every modern office or home, you're going to find at least 10 parts built by our company. Most people don't even know who we are because we're really culturally iconic from the standpoint of being a silent partner in that event. Examples of things that we manufacture would be just like this Beats by Dr. Dre headphone. The simple little B that's on the side of the headphone is something that we started doing in 1954. That was sort of the foundation of our business, part just like that. And it's stretched into all kinds of different sectors. You know, we've had the opportunity, as I mentioned, to be a culturally iconic player, manufactured the very first nameplates for Apple Computer back when Steve Jobs started the company with his great team of partners. Had a great opportunity to work with folks like Bill Gates and Paul Allen as they started Microsoft, building incredible parts for those folks. It's gone beyond, though, a metal nameplate. Now it's into much more innovation. This right here is an input device that's used to actually drive the Xbox. This Xbox right here, this piece is the on-off button for that Xbox. Technology continues to evolve, and the different types of products that we manufacture continue to evolve. This is a injection molded case, an input device that runs a IV unit. We manufacture everything that you see here, including the lighting system, so that when this is used in an environment with low light, the technicians are able to provide proper prescription. For you folks over on the eastern part of the state who are in the farming industry, we hope that every single time you turn on that John Deere tractor, you're going to interact with this particular touch input device, and we hope that it's going to help you farm in a much more efficient and robust manner. But these are just a few of the different types of technologies you're going to find manufactured at GM Nameplate. This little number just arrived at GM, and we are just so proud to have earned it. We thank the Association of Washington Business for just starting by nominating us, or whoever the committee was. I thank you for nominating us. And for those who are our peers who are also up for this incredible Operational Excellence Award, boy, we're humbled that we were actually the recipient of it, because we know just how good manufacturing in the state of Washington is.
Congratulations, GM Nameplate. We're so excited for you to be our Manufacturer Operation of Excellence Award winner for 2020. We're joined now by Greg Root, GM Nameplate's co-chairman and president, and he has a special guest right next to him. So I'm going to let you do that quick introduction, Greg, before we go to some questions here.
Well, I'm honored, and by the way, from a social distancing perspective, we all work together and are around each other for dinners every day. So at this point in time, I'm taking my mask off anyways. Forgive me. My father, Don Root, the patriarch of the family, is here today with us. He's getting ready to celebrate his 84th birthday, but he looks like he's about 24 and will whoop most of you guys in a marathon. So it's great to have him here in the office every single day. Along with me, my youngest brother, Jeff Root, is in the corner back here. He's sort of our Six Sigma Lean Safety Quality Director. Brad Root, the president of our Seattle operation, and does an amazing job every single day. And then my brother Jack Root here, he works heavily on our marketing and video productions, and we're really excited about what's ahead of us.
As Greg, as you would say, every dinner is a board meeting at your house.
It pretty much is.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about the history of the company, and then let's segue into PPE. But talk a little bit about the rich history of GM Nameplate.
Well, I think it's always been sort of a family business. Dad started here in about 1962, not too many years after the business started. And then it was about, what, mid-70s that you bought it?
Yes, that's true.
With 3 partners that all really had major contributions to the business. But no more than my dad, Don. He's really been the steam engine of this operation. And the growth has come as a result of his leadership.
Yeah, a truly impressive man, Don. Congratulations for everything you've done. You've got a great family building a great company here on your shoulders. Hey, let's talk about PPE. You've had an upfront seat with us at AWB as we've gone in this endeavor. Talk a little bit about what you're doing, what you're producing, and how people can get it.
Well, we're producing a combination of different things, and I'd ask for input from my brothers here, but the reality of it is it really started with, I think, a creative opportunity that my brother Brad came up with in his relationship with Swedish Medical Center. And very quickly, he and the team here of just incredible craftsmen came up with, I think, what was a pretty incredible solution that gave the frontline workers in these very vulnerable positions some cover. And Dad's wearing currently one of the masks or shields that we make, and that's just one of the products that we're currently producing. Our Singapore plant is also making masks. Our China division is also making shields. And then all of our divisions are sort of participating in making acrylic structures that would go between, a service person and a client, which I'm sure everybody's starting to see pop up, and everything from gyms to restaurants to banks to you name it.
Hey, Greg, talk a little bit about how did your involvement with AWB, I think about our Rebound and Recovery Task Force and the PPE portal that we did. Talk a little bit about how AWB is helpful in this process.
Well, AWB is an incredible silent partner and helper in moving business forward in this state. There's no question about it. We found out very quickly that our own state of Washington government was buying things like this PPE in China with very capable manufacturers right here. The conversations that we were able to have with the governor's office and other officials within the state gave them the spotlight on the fact that we have credible, capable manufacturers here in the state of Washington that can jump into saving lives here. And so it gave us a good opportunity to get people in the know on what we're capable of doing.
So let me pull the brothers in. You don't know this question's coming your way. What would be your advice for other family-owned businesses? You're all in this together. What would be your advice?
Did you hear the bickering we were having before the thing started?
No, I didn't.
We bicker well too. Dad was mad about Afghan girls' eyes. Whatever. I mean, we have good, fun debates about all kinds of things, right?
We don't like each other's artwork. So. My go-to find out though is that we get along together well most days, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Correct, without a doubt.
I think the big thing is that you have to understand what each person's strengths are, and then allow them to utilize their strengths in a role that is complementary for the entire organization. Each person has different strengths, and there's our business is of a size where we can all play different roles and ultimately complement the overall corporation
I mean, a great example of that is Jack got his education at Western Washington University in theatrical arts and started out his career as an actor. He'll play one of the most important roles in moving us forward over the next 90 days. And that role will be to create 100 quick videos showcasing our products and most likely the 100 most defined questions that we've gotten from customers. And so we're doing these quick, very precise videos on exactly that, because it's so hard in this environment to go out and visit a customer. So having those populated and viewable online, I think gives us sort of a leg up on our competition. And so that he'll play an extremely vital role. You know, the other things is we have lots of different projects going on right now. Jeff's in the middle of an implementation to a new operating system for us, and his skill set just complements that perfectly. You know, every single day, all he's thinking about is Lean and Six Sigma. You know, and so there's just a lot of different things that are happening within the organization. And Brad is a steadfast, every single day, hard-charging, you know, analyst and business pusher. You know, the team here just totally respects him, and he has done a good job of building incredible morale despite the challenges that we're having with COVID. So, you know, everybody's got a role, and then Dad comes in and cheerleads, and everybody's happy to see him, and so it's just a fun company to work at.
And as you can tell, Greg is the best one to explain it all.
I don't know about that.
I want to thank you all for joining us. When I think about Seattle companies, you're one of the ones that are on the top of the list. You have a rich history of leadership, a great legacy of achievement, and I want to say thank you for being our Operational Excellence Award winner for 2020. Congratulations to the entire Root family. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It means a lot, Chris.
It's great to see you, Don, by the way. Really great to see you.
To you. Thank you.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. We've had an outstanding program and lineup. We have one more show to go. We wrap up tomorrow morning at 11:30 at the Museum of Flight in Seattle, where we will talk about the great aerospace industry in Washington. We're joined by Jay Timmons, the President and CEO of the National Association of Manufacturers, and Alaska Airlines, and so many other speakers. Signing off from Kettle Cuisine in Everett, Washington. See you next week.